London has now formally approved a £750 million redevelopment that will become China's largest embassy in Europe, and the significance of that decision goes far beyond planning permission. This isn't a routine diplomatic upgrade, it's a consolidation of power, presence and permanence in one of the most sensitive parts of the UK capital. The site was rejected once, it was delayed for years, it attracted protests, intelligence briefings and international pressure, and yet it has now been approved by central government. To understand why this matters, you have to strip the story back to its moving parts: the site, the scale, the politics, the timing, and what changes once a structure like this actually exists. China purchased the Royal Mint Court in 2018, a former government-owned site close to the Tower of London, with the intention of building a single, consolidated embassy complex to replace several smaller diplomatic locations across the capital. From the outset, the proposal was unusually large, not just in square footage, but in function, combining diplomatic offices, services, staff facilities, and secure areas into one enclosed compound. In 2022, the original planning application was rejected by the local council. The reasons were explicit: concerns about security, public safety, and the scale of underground development. At that point, most projects either downsize or relocate. This one did neither. Instead, it paused and waited. The application was resubmitted with revisions, but more importantly, the decision was removed from local authority control altogether and taken over by the central government. That procedural change is the first sign that this project had outgrown normal planning rules. Royal Mint Court is not just central London. It sits within a dense web of historic state assets, diplomatic routes and financial infrastructure. Security experts raise concerns about the scale and the configuration of the proposed underground space, reportedly multiple basement levels, and the site's proximity to sensitive data routes serving the City of London. None of this proves wrongdoing, but intelligence risk assessments are not about certainty, they're about opportunity. The concern raised by critics was not that espionage is happening, but that physical conditions would make certain activities easier to conceal and harder to monitor. In planning terms, that's unusual. In national security terms, it's significant. That's why this site drew attention far beyond normal local objections, and why it didn't stay a local decision for long. As the application stalled, the debate quietly moved beyond the UK. The United States raised private concerns, particularly around intelligence sharing and implications and precedent. What approval might signal to other countries watching how the UK balances security against diplomacy. At the same time, China made clear that continued delays were being noticed. Reports indicated Beijing warned of consequences if approval remained blocked, not framed as retaliation, but as an inevitable impact on wider diplomatic relations. This placed the UK in a narrow corridor. Reject the project and risk escalation. Approve it and absorb domestic criticism. At that point, the embassy stopped being a planning question and became a geopolitical one. The decision to approve the embassy landed under Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and timing here matters. The government has inherited a UK-China relationship that is already strained, but economically entangled. China remains a major trading partner and a critical manufacturing hub, and a significant geopolitical actor, whether the UK is comfortable with it or not. Rather than escalating confrontation, the current approach has been framed around stabilisation, as reducing friction, reopen dialogue, and opening symbolic flashpoints that could harden relations further. In that context, blocking China's largest planned diplomatic presence in Europe would not have been a neutral act. It would have been interpreted as a deliberate political signal. Government statements following approval emphasised that the UK intelligence agencies had reviewed the plans and that security risks were considered manageable. That wording is deliberate. It doesn't claim zero risk, it claims oversight. Critics have argued that intelligence assessments are constrained by what could be mitigated after construction, not what could have been prevented before approval. Supporters counter that rejecting the project would not remove Chinese influence, only shift it into less visible, less regulated forms. This approval reflects a strategic recalibration, not alignment, not defiance but containment through engagement. Opposition to the embassy was not symbolic, it was organised, sustained and politically diverse. Protests outside Royal Mint Court included Hong Kong democracy activists, campaigners, human rights organisations and MPs from multiple parties. The concerns were not abstract. Activists warned that a larger, more centralised embassy could increase the risk of surveillance, harassment or intimidation of dissidents living in the UK, particularly those already critical of the Chinese state. Others focus on policing and public order. A site of this size in this location is likely to become a permanent protest focal point, requiring ongoing security resources and disruption to surrounding areas. Despite this, the approval process moved forward. No significant relocation, no major scale back, no pause for renewed public consultation. That outcome reveals a hard truth about how power operates in planning decisions once they intersect with diplomacy. Public opposition can delay, but it rarely overrides state-level strategic calculations. The embassy was approved not because objections were weak, but because they were outweighted. This decision isn't about whether the UK trusts China. It clearly doesn't fully. It's about leverage. The UK is no longer operating from a position where it can indefinitely stall, block, or reshape major Chinese initiatives without consequence. Economic dependency, global supply chains, and diplomatic independence have narrowed the available options. Approving the embassy looks less like endorsement and more like acknowledgement that the UK believes it can manage risk more effectively through visibility, regulation, and intelligence oversight than through outright rejection. This is not moral clarity, it's strategic compromise. Whether that compromise holds depends entirely on what follows: how protests are handled, how security boundaries are enforced, and whether red lines are actually defended once the building becomes operational. This isn't a decision you judge today, it's one you audit over decades. Right now, this remains a project on paper, but once operational, the embassy becomes fixed infrastructure, staffed, secured and embedded into London's diplomatic ecosystem. Its scale means it won't function like a typical embassy. It will consolidate services, personnel and political activity in a way that changes day-to-day diplomatic dynamics. Every protest outside its gates will test public order planning. Every bilateral dispute will be viewed through the lens of approval. Every intelligence incident, real or alleged, will trace back to this moment. Crucially, once built, the UK loses flexibility. There's no easy rollback of permanent diplomatic architecture, no quiet downgrade, and no reversible decision. This approval closes one chapter, but it opens several others. Legal challenges may still emerge, oversight frameworks will be tested, and future governments will inherit the consequences without having made the decision themselves. But the embassy has not yet opened, staff have not moved in, and operations haven't begun yet, which means the most sensitive phase is still ahead. Because once this building becomes active, every future decision involving China, trade disputes, human rights settlements, sanctions or security incidents will occur under its shadow. The question is no longer whether the UK should approve the embassy. That decision is already done. The real question is whether the UK is prepared for the leverage it has just formalised, and whether it can hold its ground once the relationship moves from planning documents into permanent reality. That's where this story truly begins. If you enjoyed this video and you want more breakdowns just like this, make sure that you like the video, subscribe to my channel for more, and comment your thoughts on this mega Chinese embassy in the comments below.